Welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Everybody, I want to welcome you to the show, and I want to say this. My very special guest today, for those of you that don't know, is Gail Lynn. And many of you have heard me talk recently on other shows about what she's created. Now, the last time Gail and I met, we gave you a little background. But besides being a rebel, a dreamer, an author, and an inventor, and yes, amazing, like out-of-the-box inventor, harmonicegg.com, she is someone that has prepared for us an invitation. And that invitation is in her fabulous documentary, which is free, called It's Time. Now, I want to tell you, the way to go find it is itstime.love. When you go there, you're going to be able to see the trailer, but you're also going to be able to see and understand why this is so important in the world we live in today. Gail, it's so great to have you again. And I was talking with someone this morning and they said, are you sure the website's itstime.love? I said, yes. And they said to me, I was talking to Judy, and they said to me, how perfect is that? And I wanted to ask you this question. This movie, this documentary, has the most incredible people in it. When you listen to them speak and watch you as you've traveled and you've talked with people, it is very clear that it's time. But I want people today to know it's time from multiple perspectives. Let's talk about the cast. Because, you know, sometimes you can have a great script and a great storyboard and a great this and a great that, but it's the cast that puts it over the edge. How did you decide on who to include in this? And let's talk about what each person brings to the table.
Yeah, because I think if the Seinfeld cast wasn't the cast that they have, they would have never been great. Seinfeld casting was amazing. So, and I've been in the movie business, and I wanted to, a lot of people said, hey, why don't you get Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton and Greg Braden? I said, I don't want them. They're wonderful people, but they've said what they had to say, and we need change. It's time for change. It's time for a new paradigm shift. And so I decided that I would really like some sage-wise wisdom from women. And it took a long time for me to decide which women did I want. There's so many beautiful women that are so wise, but they're so humble and they're so shy in a lot of ways. If you watch the film, Cynthia was very shy, and this was something that was very challenging for her, and she did brilliant. I was so proud of her. And she has so many amazing things to say, and she's just so brilliant. And we needed her wisdom recorded and out there. Ani Williams, Penny Kelly, Deborah Cambio, we needed their wisdom in this film. And it's a fresh approach. There's new energy, and we're in the age of Aquarius. It's the divine feminine. Here we are. So it was very important to have these wise women that they don't toot their own horn. They're not out there with a big ego saying, look at me, look at me. So I said, you know what? I want to look at you. I want to see you.
Yes. And you see, this is what I love about this. And I think this has to be the beginning because we need to do more and more and more of this. I get to sit in a great place where I look at the hosts we're bringing on, right? I look at these people that are showing up now with the message. Maybe they don't have 5 million followers here or there, but their message is incredibly powerful. I was talking to a woman this morning who has created a brand new paradigm of process for cultures and organizations, right? And, this is a journey that you say yes to, and you put one foot in front of the other to get there. And we don't have any magic formula now, but when people watch this film, they will feel magical. And that's what I want to talk to you about. When you were making the film, I can only imagine what you were thinking. My gosh, like, how long is this going to take? I can't even imagine what that was like. But it seems like it didn't matter for you because it seems like you're focused and you so honored these people. What was it like to be in their presence? And is there any one or several of them that you can just say, I will never forget that quote?
All of them. I will say
Yeah.
all of them. And I can give you examples. Like I can actually give
Yeah.
you examples. And so I had a writer, but we didn't really have a script. And I didn't know how this was going to come together. I knew that it would divinely come together, but that's hardest, the hardest kind of
Yeah.
film to create is one without a script. I did 55 edits. And so with Cynthia, I think the biggest takeaway from her being in her presence was amazing. She's so humble. And I just couldn't believe it with everything she knows. And I was going through her book about subtle energies, and I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And I even opened up the film with her quote, judgment is the only thing that separates us. I mean, mind blown.
Yeah.
And so she says that our communication is coded with emotions. So when I say, Dr. Pat, when I say, what does love mean to you? Or money or manipulation, it's going to conjure up something that's not going to be the way that I see it. So when we talk to each other, all of our language is coded with these emotions. And so we don't hear each other. And so we need a new language in the future to communicate. And I thought that was so absolutely
Yeah.
brilliant and
Yeah.
it was wonderful.
I love this because I doing a lot of work behind the scenes for our network, and we're just a hair away. I know what I mean. When you're like a hair away from it being done, right? It's like a hard-boiled egg, or a soft-boiled eggs. 1 minute, 1 minute too soon, it's soft-boiled. 1 minute too late, it's hard-boiled. But when you get to that place and okay, this is a great place to stop. And, I know for us, we feel that way and we feel the energy of 20 years in the making, but it's hard to find words. But I'm going to ask you to find words. The documentary, the film, is transformative. It is emotionally gripping for me. And I step back and I ask myself, why? Why now? And I think because for many of us that have been pounding the pavement, I don't know what else to call it. I'm from New York, pounding the pavement, knocking on doors, saying there's another way for us to be, another way for us to communicate. You can have a great message and you don't have to be judging other people. We've been doing this so long, but what you've been able to capture in these voices of other people is powerful and yet humbling. Did you intend for that to happen, or did you just let it morph itself, Gail?
Well, it's both. It really is both because I knew what I wanted when I went into it with the writer without a script. I also said, I know what I want the people to experience when they watch the film and when they're done with the film. Even the ending song was created by one of my dear friends, and I wanted them to be like at the very end, how can the music get them out of their
Yeah.
seats? How can it be where they say, you know what, it is time. And I didn't really think about it. I've had my head in the sand, or I kept thinking, well, that's just how it is. That's how it's got to be, and especially the baby boomers, like a lot of my mom's generation, my dad's generation. Well, why do we pay taxes? Well, we just do. We don't know why. We don't question the medical authority when it comes to health. We don't question the government. It's just, that's the way it is. And so I really wanted people to see this and go, you know what? That lady made a lot of sense. And just like when I did the film with Elvis, we did not want Elvis to be um, a famous person, because then people would say, that's Matt Damon or that's so and so. We wanted it to be a nobody so that people would see Elvis in a different light. So I wanted the nobodies that are actually somebodies to me. They're my mentors, they're my visionaries, they're people that I look up to because they're so humble and they have a message and they're not saying, look at me, here's my big ego. I wanted them to have a voice. And I knew that at the end, I wanted people to cry. I mean, I even watch it over and over myself and still cry.
Yeah,
It's my
exactly.
story. How can I be still crying? There's something that touches the audience. And we've also incorporated Harmonic Egg music. And I had the guy that did the music score, Joe Cruz, was just brilliant in just finding those pieces of emotion. And when Holly, my horse, comes on screen, every time I cry. I've seen it 65 times now, 55 editing, and then I've watched it, and I still have tears in my eyes. Why is that? That's what I wanted to come through, and it did, but I'm amazed.
Yeah. Well, I'm at the same reaction. That's what I was saying to you, is it really doesn't matter. And I'm really struck by what I noticed that I didn't notice that time or the time before. I just am struck by it. And probably because of the day, you wake up today and you see something, you see something that perhaps you didn't think about, right? But there's so much in here, right? There's so much in the film. Let's talk about your horse for a minute, uh, which is a cast member. Okay, so right, let's just be very clear. Um, there's some beautiful imagery in this, but horses are powerful, and in certain most indigenous cultures, they represent freedom. And I don't know if you intended to do that, but your horse takes on a persona all of its own. How did that unfold?
So it was intended for freedom. The eagles in there were for freedom.
Yeah,
The bees were for healing. I wanted those symbols, that symbolism in there. The camera guy was funny because he was such a perfectionist, and he said, okay, I'm going to have Holly do this. Her name is Holly. And I said, okay, she'll probably do it once, because she's the type of horse when we're alone. She's 27 years old. She's a cranky old lady. She'll do it once and she'll say, you know what? I just showed you I did it. I'm not doing it again. And so I told Peter, I said, she's going to do it once or twice, and then we probably won't get her to do it again. And he said, we'll have her do it again. Okay, I'll ask, but I don't think she will. She did it over and over and
wow.
over. There were 9 to 12 takes on each one of those things that I thought, she's not going to do it again. And she did. She's not going
Yeah,
to do it again. And she did. It was so magical. It was like she knew, I am a part of this film and I have to show freedom. I have to show how much I'm going to start crying, how much I love my mom, how much I love this two-legged person that takes care of me. And I want people to see how magical they can bond with nature, with animals, and how beautiful their life can be when they can have this nonverbal communication with
yeah,
a beast or a wild animal that's 1,200 pounds that could kill you in a second. But I mean, for her to run and just be free, and for people to see that and see our connection, I just wanted people to have hope that
yeah.
they could have the same kind of life and same kind of connection. I'm so sorry here. It's just, here I am crying again. She's such a beautiful soul, and she touches so many hearts here in my neighborhood too.
Hmm. That's why I wanted to ask you a question. I want to back up. And for those of you just tuning in, I'm here with Gail Lynn, and we're talking about her fabulous film, her documentary, It's Time. Now, this is free. This is available to people. So every time I say that, people like say, really, am I going to get there? And that, no. So this has been made available worldwide. I'm asking you all to pay it forward. It's a very simple thing to do. I'm asking you to pay it forward. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to share it with a personal group I have right after this. There's a reason you wanted to do that. From where you sat, what was it in your heart that said, this is the story I have to tell? This is the story. Give us your version of that today for people that are wondering, what is this about?
Well, I've been sick and, and I've seen how people are treated when they're sick. And I've had sick people come into my center and I've seen how they're treated, by other people and they become so desperate and they become in fear. And I just wanted to give people hope. My parents were both medical errors and I'm angry about it, but it's like, what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen to somebody else? I can put out a documentary and I can tell people we need a paradigm shift in medicine. We need to listen to our bodies. We need to be the vibrational beings of sound and light that we are from God, from Creator, from Source. And we need to listen to our bodies. We are our own best doctors. And I wanted people to feel in a place of love. And, so love was a theme in the movie. And I don't think that we have enough people out there doing things with love. I challenge people at the end to do one extra thing in a day with love and kindness. And we could change the world. We can change the world. We are so powerful. We are so strong. And then when the angelic beings or God or my higher self said, you're going to offer this for free. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I just put out a bunch of money to do this. How am I going to get my money back? And the answer was, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I remember some of the stuff that you say, but Janice Stanfield did a song and it was a thing called Brave, or what would you do if you were brave? And I just said to myself, what would I do today if I were brave?
Yeah.
I'm going to make this film. I'm going to get it out before our USA election, because after this election, we want people to come together. It doesn't matter who wins.
Nope.
We can do this. We can take back our power. We can make the change. We can be the change we want to be. We can create a reality that we want to live in, because I'm so over the commercials of he's this and she's that. I think they need to get out of their kindergarten recess and become adults. It's ridiculous. So I wanted to have this out before the election. So it was really a crunch. I dedicated 24/7 of my life for 9 months to make this happen. And it's out and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah. I mean, this is really what they say when I think Einstein said it, something like everything is energy and that's all there is to it. That's his full quote. Some really kind of smirky kind of Einstein quote, right? Everything is energy and that's it. Can you imagine him like saying it, right? Like total
Yeah.
frustration, Einstein, right? Everything's energy and that's it. That's it. There's
That's
nothing
it.
else to it. That's it. Because this is so true. And even with when we experience health situations, right? It's energy. You go to a physician or you go to a hospital, you go to a place. And if you don't think for 1 minute the energy of what comes at you when you are not a well person is not taken into every cell of your body, I want you to rethink that again, because it is. How do we know it? We know it because we see people miraculously heal from what? Music, kind words, conversations. I'm in a coma, but then I'm not, right? We know this. So why can't we be this every day? That's the challenge. It's your call to be this every day. It's time, right?
Absolutely. And it's hard. It's even hard for me. People say, oh, Gail, it's just easy for you. It's not easy for me. I'm
Not.
a Scorpio and stellium and I'm a hot mess. And every day is a challenge. Somebody cuts me off in traffic. The first thing I want to do is be angry. But the second thing I do, which is becoming the first thing I do, is I wonder, what do they have going on in their life? Maybe they have to go to the bathroom and they're going to, have an accident and they're racing to get home. Maybe they have an emergency. Somebody called them and said, I'm going to commit suicide.
Yeah.
They're racing to rescue somebody. We don't know what people are going through. So we have to have a place of love and forgiveness and kindness. And it's getting easier and easier. It's like a muscle. You have to practice, and you have to practice and practice and practice. And it's not easy to do in this world.
No, I'm going to share a funny story. I was sitting and I was working on the computer. I call it my little Pooh Bear cave. You know, like they got man caves. I got a Pooh Bear cave. When I go to do this, I'm not in a cave, but I surround myself as if I were. I mean, I'm not kidding. I got my lunch, I got my this, I got my that, I got everything. So I have it all piled around me because when I put my head down, my head's down. And so I was done, right? I needed to go do something else. I was going to go do my hair and I was done. And so this is me now. This is like got to be my Sag, right? So I pick up everything, the cup, the this, the that, right? This thing's half full, the bowl, whatever I had, and I'm carrying it. And I had just rewatched the film. So here's me, and I got to carry it like 30 feet. And I'm carrying it. And I said, oh my gosh, Pat, look what you did. And you know that if you drop this, you are going to be furious. So one, you're going to already adjust your mind for the act that may or may not happen. Two, you're going to walk clearly and slowly and happily and gratefully from here to your kitchen sink. And you're going to smile. And I did that for a reason, because I knew the minute I picked it up, my arms were filled and I was like doomed. I knew it. And if I'd have continued that thinking, I would have guaranteed you half a quart of milk would have been on the rug. I would have never made it. I would have probably broken something, right? Knocked something over. But you see, I think this is what we're talking about. This is a small adjustment that turned out to be a big, big catastrophe averted. Just that. From watching the film, I had a new level of awareness. What do you think of that? See, we have to talk about this in everyday life. I averted a catastrophic ruin my rug day.
Well, and you're right. We manifest what we think. And people don't understand that, you know? And I think Henry Ford said, whether you think you're wrong or whether you think you're right, you are correct.
Well, right. A long time ago, I had a mentor that gave me a poem, Beyond the Field of Right Doing or Wrongdoing. And, that's a beautiful poem, and it goes on and on and on. And boy, it took me 10 years to even figure out what the first verse of that meant. But that's really what we're talking about. Do we want to be right or do we want to be free? And I think what you're doing in the film is talking about freedom as an option. When you think about your cast in the film, what do you want to say to all of us now listening today? What do you want to say about the beauty that showed up to make this film? These beautiful people.
Wow. I think what I would want to say is that if you have a dream in your heart and you focus, you can do it. Don't ever tell yourself you can't, because you can. That negative self-talk is what stops people from doing things. Oh, I can't do that. I don't have the money to do that. Everything showed up because I said this is going to happen. Even Ani Williams, she lived in France. It was not in my budget to fly her from France to the US. I called her up and I said, this is a long shot, but what if I just said, oh, there's no way she's going to be available? But I didn't. I said, this is a long shot. Ani, are you going to be anywhere around the US in March? And she said, as a matter of fact, I am. I haven't been to the US in 5 years, and I am coming to the US in March. I said, oh, well, the US is a big place. We were shooting in Sedona. We were filming in Sedona. I said, well, where are you going to be? She said, I'm actually flying into Phoenix. Okay.
Wow.
What dates? The exact dates that I needed her there.
Oh my
this
gosh.
is how the film showed that, from Holly, my horse, doing exactly what she never does over and over again, to Ani being available.
Yeah.
And even Charles had to fly into Colorado during the Colorado filming from Maryland. And he runs a successful healing center. And so I said, what are the chances he's available? I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to call him. I call him up. He says, you know what, Gail, this is so weird. And I said, no, it's not. What's weird? I took a vacation. I didn't have any plans, but I closed my center and I was going to take this vacation. And it's the exact dates that I needed him. What are the odds, really?
You know, isn't it beautiful? It takes sometimes as long as it takes, Gail. But isn't it beautiful when you see the pieces come together at the right time, in the right way, for the right action? Isn't that the beauty? And that's how you know when something is so meant to be. I want to take a minute. Tell people how they can watch, pay it forward. How can they help support you in your vision to reach millions of people with this?
Well, all I'm asking is for them to pay it forward and just share it. It's on YouTube, it's on Rumble. And on YouTube, we even have the closed captions for Dutch, Spanish, French, Italian, and Thai. So you can watch it with the subtitles in those languages, because this is where we have Harmonic Egg centers and locations. So I was honoring those locations and their clients. HTTPS, because you have to have the S, it's time.love is the website, and you can watch it for free. And harmonicegg.com is where you can find my book and different Harmonic Egg music that's in the film. And so we're everywhere. It's time.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all of this. You'll be back again. And I'm okay to cry when I watch the film. Thank you. The tears of gratitude, Gail. Thank you so much. Thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on. Emily, thank you so much for pushing all the right buttons. And all we're asking you to do is pay it forward. Go to the website, copy the link, send it to a friend, share it with your group. You know, what I found with this is have a group session with the film and be able to talk about it. It's the coolest thing you could do, to hear different people watch this in your circle of friends or an online group and watch this and hear what they have to say. And by the way, if you decide to do that, if you decide to really watch the film, please reach out to Gail. Tell everybody what you think, because it's up to us to change the world. Thank you, Gail. Thank you all for tuning us in, turning us on. Thank you all. We'll see you next time.